Hello everyone, thank you for your presence here today. Welcome to our 3XM private equity webinar dedicated for Portuguese immigration through 350k investment value. My name is Danchan. I am senior private banker at Bison Bank, and today I will be your moderator. With me, I have Miss Sofia Pires.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Anna is a lawyer from Pinto, Machado and specialist in the immigration law. She will present in the golden visa process and how to apply for 350k private equity funds. Also, we have today our main speaker, Mr. Raul Azevedo.
Hi, Raul here.
Who is the chairman of 3XM Invest and responsible for the 3XM private equity. Mr. Raul will give us today a detailed explanation of how this fund works and how it can be a good solution for your investments. Okay. So, to present Bison Bank and what we do. Bison Bank, it's a European-based bank fully held by a private Chinese capital from Hong Kong, focused on providing private banking and investment banking services. Our headquarters is based in Lisbon, Portugal. The board of directors are composed by 4 board members with vast experience in banking sector and international banking, since our CEO is coming directly from Bank of China, Hong Kong. There are several programs in Portugal's Golden Visa program, and the bank are focusing on 2 alternatives, which is 1 million euros in capital transfer and 350,000 euros in private equity fund. What we're offering to our clients. Bison Bank premium account can give you access remotely to a Portuguese-based account without coming to Portugal, which we can do it with a remote account opening process. You will have a dedicated account manager in 3 languages, Portuguese, English, and Chinese. Access to home banking and Bison Bank mobile app. Besides the 350k funds, we also offer you wealth management and investment advisory and other banking products. The management commission fee can be exempt for deposits above 100k euros. If you opt for the 350,000 program, what will cost you to scrap the private equity fund? You only need to pay 0.15% of transaction fee, one shot, and 0.02% each quarter as a custody fee and nothing else. Simple, isn't it? I will let you think about it and pass the word to Miss Sofia Pires. Thank you.
About the Golden Visa, the specifically model of equity funds. New legal changes carried out by the Portuguese government on entry and stay of foreign nationals in Portugal have introduced a mechanism to obtain a Portuguese residence if they make certain investments in the country. Some of the benefits are entering in Portugal without a visa, travel around the Schengen area without a residence visa, reside, work or study in Portugal, benefit from healthcare, social protection and education system, benefit from family reunion visa of spouse, children, parents and parents-in-law, apply for a permanent residence after 5 years, apply for the Portuguese nationality after 6 years. Well, there are some kind of investments to obtain the Golden Visa, such as the capital transfer of 1 million euros in bank account, capital transfers in investment on private equity fund of 315,000 euros, create 10 job positions, companies acquisition for 1 million euro, acquisition of real estate with a value equal or above 500,000 euros, research activities in the scientific or technological areas for 350,000 euros. Now, I will talk briefly about the legal steps to obtain the modality capital transfer in investment on private equity funds. I choose this via because it's the easy process and cheaper to invest or obtain the Golden Visa. The first step is hire a tax representative to obtain a fiscal number. After, the investor can open a bank account. Once the account is open, the investor can realize the capital transfer to Portugal. After, we need the documentation of the investment, but the investor don't need to come to Portugal to do that. We can obtain the documents remotely. The documents are declaration of a credit institution attesting the effective transfer, supporting document attesting the ownership of the units of participation and issued by the responsible entity, and final, the declaration issued by the holding company of the respective investment fund. After, we prepare the documents for the golden visa process in immigration services in CEF. Again, the investor don't need to come to Portugal to do that. We can obtain all the documents remotely. We will wait more or less 2 months to book appointment in immigration services, and the biometric data collection is the only moment that the investor needs to come to Portugal. The final step is waiting more or less 3 to 9 months. Upon approval of golden visa, the investor needs to pay the government permit issue fee. Now, the family reunification is the one of the rights given to the permit residence holder. Under this right, the investor can bring his family with him. They have the same rights and obligations. These are the family members that can come with the investor: spouse, children, minor adopted, parents of law, and first-degree ascendants in the direct line of golden visa holder of a spouse, but they need to prove they are economic dependent of investor. In fact, the residence allows the renovation of successive periods of 2 years, but the permit holder must demonstrate that he had stayed in Portugal at minimums 7 days followed or interpolated in first year, 14 days followed or interpolating on the successive periods of 2 years. In limit, the investor can demonstrate this time at countries of Schengen area is acceptable for immigration services. Now, I will pass the word from Raul Azevedo to 3XM. Thank you for attention.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to have you here with us so we can present our 3XM private equity fund. We have people here from all over the world, from China, Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, India, the Middle East, etc. So it's a great pleasure to be talking to all of you from here from sunny Lisbon in Portugal. Today, we will be talking about our private equity fund, 3XM, and in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll go over its geographical location, its investment policy, the main advantages relative to other investments, the invested sectors, and the management team that's behind our fund. As a summary, these are the most important aspects to retain from our fund. So 3XM is a $20 million private equity fund with a 5 years maturity, with a conservative expectation of 5% return. It focuses on experienced companies on tourism, healthcare, and energy. One of the attractivenesses is the possibility of obtaining a Portuguese golden visa with a low investment of $350,000 with a very attractive tax regime. And it is managed by an experienced and multidisciplinary team that I'm proud to lead. And there will be 100% dedicated to this fund, which is the 5th fund from the asset management company behind it. So it can be purchased from anywhere in the world through its international ISIN number and is registered with the Portuguese Monetary and Securities Authority. The fund will be mostly exposed to the Portuguese market, which is strategically located in the south of Europe, as we can observe here, and registered with the Portuguese Monetary and Securities Authority. The fund will be mostly exposed to the Portuguese market, which is strategically located in the south of Europe, as we can observe here in this map. Portugal is very well located in continental Europe, near the United Kingdom. It is a bridge to the United States, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. And Portugal has a very long, proud, strong, and stable connections with all China and all Asia. Just a few highlights of some of the competitive advantages of Portugal. Important not only to invest, but as well to live here as a resident after you have the golden visa. So Portugal has a quality of life, as Portugal is today recognized as one of the best countries in the world to live. It has access to a large and rich market of 500 million Europeans, plus 250 million Portuguese-speaking consumers in the world. It has one of the most developed infrastructures in the Western world. It has a unique pool of talent and highly skilled labor force, not only in the technological skills, but as well in the various languages spoken, where Portuguese today is the 7th most spoken language in the world. Regarding the fund itself, 3XM, so it is a private equity fund with a safe and conservative investment policy, as I said earlier, looking for a yearly cash flow plus valuation of the invested assets. It is not a venture capital fund with a risky strategy in startups with unproven companies. No, it only invests in solid and stable companies with a proven track record. In this illustrative timeline, the first 2 years, 2020 and 2021, it is the investment period. The invested and cash flow period, the investment and the cash flow period is in 5 years until 2026, where the portfolio will be then liquidated. At maturity, the expected yearly return, the IRR, is expected to be 6%, including all the yearly dividends plus the valuation of the projects itself. Why investing? And we have been receiving this question from many times. Why invest on a private equity fund, and particularly on 3XM? Because it is a better investment than most alternatives due to an attractive tax regime, probably the lowest taxed financial investment in the south of Europe, access to golden visa with a lower investment than every other alternative, safety, protection and diversification of the investment with a low risk and a conservative strategy with cash flow implied, and has a fully dedicated management team aligned and paid with the performance of the fund and with accountability with the investment policy of the fund itself. It has multiple supervisions and compliance with all the external entities protecting the invested capital from our investors. Entering a little bit in detail on some of these advantages and attractivenesses, let's start with the tax regime. It is important to understand that the fund activities are 100% tax exempt, including profit sharing and distribution for non-resident investors. Regarding the golden visa, which is one of the reasons why we are here today talking to all of you, it is the cheapest investment to gain access to the Portuguese residency with only 350,000 euros compared to, for example, €500,000 with real estate or 1 million euros with a bank account, as my colleague Anna just said previously. This is probably because government believes investors are more protective with private equity funds. The fund guarantees the continuity and the maintenance of the visa during 5 years, and as it is good for the investor and for the family as well. And this is some of the reasons why we believe the private equity funds are the best investment on a foreign country like Portugal. Another very important aspect is the external supervision and the protection of the investment. So the supervisory bodies are the monetary authority, the custodian bank, Bison Bank here with us here today, the external auditors, the chartered accountants, they all monitor, protect the fund and the invested capital. So this is just to give you an highlights of all this supervision and protection of the fund. Let me take you a little bit on the detail on where are the sectors where we will invest on. These are, so this is basically mentioning the health and elderly care, tourism, hotels and restaurants, and energy, gas stations and renewables. So basically there are these three sectors here. Number one, the health sector is basically on nursing homes. This is a sector which has been growing in the north of Europe in the south of Europe now, and is currently being restructured after this coronavirus pandemic. So it follows all safety regulations. It has a prospect of growing in the short and medium term with a 9% year growth over the past 8 years. So the number 2 is the tourism sector, where we'll be very selective in our investment and do as well to the coronavirus at the moment. We have now at the moment very good opportunities from buying prime small hotels in the center of Lisbon and in Porto, to be ready when the tourism recovers again in this great sector, where Portugal is still number 1 destination in Europe in tourism. And final, number 3, investing in the energy sector, particularly in petrol stations, which generates a stable cash flow of 7 to 8% over 5 years, with a guaranteed resale exit strategy. In what concerns to tourism, and particularly small hotels and hostels in prime Lisbon and Porto, overnight tourism has been growing 36% over the last 5 years. Of course, this has been one of the amazing experiences in this decade for Portugal, and we expect it to return when these tourisms come back in 2021 and 2022, after this pandemic is after us. In terms of the third sector, which is energy, particularly investing in traditional, well-located gas station, provides an attractive and very stable income on the funds. So we are talking about having a 6 years maturity guaranteed buyback from the petrol flagships brand, which gives this real assurance that you have a guaranteed exit with a value added at the end. Regarding now into the management team, so who are we? Management team is composed on 2 companies, 3XM Invest and Ask. In 3XM, of which I'm proud to be the CEO, we have 3 executives. It's myself, with more than 20 years experience as a consultant in McKinsey and as an independent consultant, as an entrepreneur and as a corporate leader all over the world in 5 continents. I've been responsible for managing the fund and on the acquisition of the portfolio valuations. José Miguel is our banker. He has a wealth management experience from Switzerland, Portugal, Brazil, in banks and in management firms like Edmond Rothschild. And lastly, Adriano, which is a lawyer specialized in international business and relocations, with owned offices in Portugal, South America, and Africa. Regarding Ask, Nuno and João at the board of Ask, it's ISK management company, the asset management company. They have more than 2 decades of experience in managing funds, where 3XM is the 5th managed fund that they are, the 5th fund that they are managing. Additionally to our multidisciplinary team, there are some subcontracted entities that complement us and manage our fund, such as the lawyer's office at Pinto Machado, manage all our golden visa, CCSL that handles our corporate affairs, Bison Bank with us here today is our custodian bank, and the fund external chartered accountants and our auditors. As a summary and to finalize, 3XM is a private equity fund, $20 million maximum capital, 50% is already committed. We have a subscription term that goes until September of this year. We are extending it until December. The minimum subscription is 100,000 euros. For the golden visa, it's 350,000 euros. We are looking for investing in experienced, conservative, with a solid track record and cash flow companies in these 3 sectors we presented before. The charged commission are standard for the market. The management commission is 2.5%, performance commission is 20% above a threshold of 5%. There is a subscription fee and there is no redemption commission. The investment period where we will acquire the portfolio companies is 12 months until December of 2021, and the maturity is 5 years until 2026, with an option of another extra year. 3XM private equity fund is regulated by CMVM, the Securities Authority, and this is all I wanted to tell you today. Thank you very much for your attention. We are excited to be working with all of you. Any of you that being anywhere in the world feel that this is the right time to invest in a country like Portugal. We look forward to be talking to you again. Stay safe wherever you are. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your participants. We will start now the Q&A session. We have already here some questions from the participants, which we will answer due the time, and we will try to answer you all. If for some reason we could not answer your questions, please send, we will share with you our contacts, and please feel free to contact at any time. So the first questions I have here is for Raul, okay? The question is, I have to make a transfer of 350 million euros and wait 9 months to get authorization. During these periods, I don't get any income from my money. Raul, you're muted.
Perfect. Thank you, Lee. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. When you invest 350,000, you will apply. You will send the money to the bank. So we open your bank account for you. After you check, your customer, all of this process that Anna explained. The money, as soon as we close the fund, the money will start to be invested. And from that moment, according to the investments that the fund will do, the cash flow and so the dividends of the investments will start to be received at the same time that the golden visa process is being processed. So, which will take 9 months or probably a bit less than that. We have a very flowed, very easy process with Pinto Machado that Anna can explain later. So we'll probably take less than 9 months. But on that period, as long as you are on the bank and the money is there and the money is invested, you will have all the dividends and cash flows, and that's the process. The investment itself, it's being given, so you don't have to wait for the golden visa.
Okay, thank you, Raul. For the next question, and this is for Anna. Anna, do I need to come to Portugal to do the process?
Thank you for your question. No, the investor don't need to come to Portugal on the process, but in the final, when he have the bulk appointment in immigration services, is the only moment that the investor need to come to Portugal.
Okay, thank you. There's starting to have a lot of questions here. So the next one is for Raul regarding the tax exemption. So regarding 100% tax exemption, it means zero income tax, or it actually applies as detention for deduction?
Okay. The income tax in Portugal depends on if you are a resident or if not, and what type of resident do you are. Okay, so there is a lot of types of resident. If for a non-resident, it's totally 100% tax free. So there is no deduction at the end, or no accumulation on your level of IRS, because you don't pay any year. As soon as you start being a resident, if you are a resident later, there is a 10%, which is typically a third. It's not 28%, but it's 10% on the end of year dividends of the fund, but 0% on the activities of the fund itself.
Okay, thank you, Raul. So this is for Anna, because this is the golden visa process. So if I apply as 23-year-olds, will my parents in their 50s also be eligible as dependents?
Hello, thank you for your question. Yes, you need to demonstrate that you are the economic dependent of the investor. If you demonstrate that situation, you can eligible as dependents of the golden visa.
Okay. Is there a government limit on applications, Anna?
Sorry?
Is there a government limit for the applications? Is there a limitation?
Limitation about what?
I think it's the number. I don't know. The participant who sent this question, can you elaborate, please? And we will try to answer afterwards. Okay. So there is another question here: is how does the investor can be qualified in the golden visa process?
Yeah, let me try to answer this one. So regarding the fund, and
Yeah.
we wait from Alan Wong to clarify as well, but the questions are related. So as long as you invest 350,000 euros in buying units of participation in this euro, because the fund is already registered in CMVM specifically for this golden visa, you are totally applicable, and then the process that the law firm will start will give you until the end, and you will be eligible. But there is no limitations on the number of people. So if you have, the fund is a 20 million euros maximum, we can go up to there. We have already, nobody asked that question, but it's an important one. So we are already 10 to 11 million already compromised. So we still have half of the fund until we finish the maximum value of the fund. Everybody that buys 350,000 units of participation receive cash flow, receive all the investment returns, and is applicable, is eligible for it.
Okay, so here we have some questions that it's a little bit similar, which what is the return on investment and what are the requirements? I think the requirements Anna can explain a little bit, or in the presentation that we will send you, there will be the requirements. And return on investment, I think Raul can explain how is the RR and how the fund can generate the income for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you, Lee. It's very, very easy. So our fund, and this is a very important question, it's a very conservative fund. So some private equity or venture capital funds that people invest on, that are as well eligible for the golden visa, are by nature risky funds that invest in startups. So these have potential to give 20, 30, 100%, or it can go bankrupt, as most of them. That's the nature of a startup. Our fund will not invest in startups. It invests in very solid companies with track record that give in the past 1 or 2 fiscal exercises per profit that we are looking for. We look for profits of each individual investments up to 5 to 6%. Okay, that's what we are looking for. Very, very conservative on that sense. And of course, this is an investment. So as an investment, nothing is guaranteed. At the moment that we are now, we'll be even more picky, let's say, in selecting the investments. We have some very good opportunities, but we'll still look for in those 3 sectors that we elected, for the companies that will look at us as a guarantee to give the same result as they've given before in the past years, which is again 5 to 6%.
Okay, good. Thank you, Raul. I have another question here. Is that are children over 21 eligible for the golden visa as dependents? And I think this is for Anna. And also I wanted to add to this question, because there are some questions here about what is the requirements or the process for the Portugal. And can you explain a little bit how the process goes, and if the children over 21 are eligible as a dependent?
Yes, sure. Thank you for your question. The process is obtain all the documents to the immigration services, and the investor needs to obtain the golden visa. This is the process. In Portugal, I told process is obtain the documentation to immigration services, and immigration services in final concede permanent residence. And the question for the children, all the children are economic dependent of the investor, demonstrate he can require the golden visa.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So there's a question here. Yes, we will share the link for this webinar, okay, and we can share that with you for the persons who lost the introduction of the webinar, of course. And there is any other questions that you wanna ask us? I think it's so. Oh no. Okay, here it appears. Okay, so what is the total cost with fees? I think this is a share question for Raul and Anna. Okay, and I will answer in terms of banking services. For the bank, we will charge 0.15 of the transaction cost and 0.02% for the custody fee. This is the only fee that the bank will charge for you based on this investment. And the rest I will leave to Anna and Raul. Okay. Raul, you can start.
All of our commissions and fees are very standard in the market, even the one in the bank. Actually, I'm free to say, I'm ready to say that the fees that Bison Bank is charging, they are not standard with the market. They are very competitive. They are lower than most of the banks here in the market. The fund itself, because we are managing the companies from A to Z while the duration of the fund in the 6 years. So not abandoning, not the investors, not the investments. In a very particular, we will sit on the board of the companies. So it's very standard, very practice, which is the 2.520. It's what we were in the presentation. There is a management commission of 2.5%. And if there is an above percentage, because we want to be aligned with the interest of the investors, as much we give to the investors on profit and return, we will get part of that. So that's the typical way and standard way that the funds are aligned with the investors. We are on the same side of the table, always representing the investors, not the investments, not the companies. It's very important. So as long as this gives above this 5% per year, so every year this 5% of return, if this goes above, we share a little bit of that proportion, which is 20% is what is in our presentation is as well, some standard as well. There is no more commissions or fees like subscription fee or unsubscription fee, like some funds say. There is nothing like that. It depends on some particular cases that people have. There is a question here we can answer a little later regarding property. There is some specific fees for that, but I will let Anna to answer on these questions on commissions and fees.
Thank you, Raul. The legal fees, you have the two types of legal fees. You have the fees of immigration services, they're more or less 5,000 euros, and you have the fees of the lawyer to obtain all the documentation to the immigration services, and more or less 5,000 euros too.
Okay, thank you. So in just to wrap up this question, because there are a lot of fees here or none. So in terms of banking side and in terms of lawyer side, yes, there will be fees because we will go into the immigration process. And for the fund side, from Raul's side, there's any cost for you. So basically, this program, it's one of the cheapest programs of Golden Visa in Portugal. And in terms of investment ticket, also it's one of the lowest tickets you can have. Okay, so I have here, so the Alan Wong did rewrite the question. So is the visa limited to the number of family members? I think this can be answered by Anna.
Thank you for your question. No, you don't have the limit of the members of the Reunion for the Golden Visa, but you have demonstrate that they are economic dependent of the investor. Is the requisite.
Okay. So is there any other questions you might have? Just let me check.
I think there is a question on this chat regarding real estate from Santos Jack. If I decide to invest in real estate, for example, does the fund play any role? Do you advise or make any investment recommendations? So the fund itself, the 3XM fund, invests in the sectors that we have explained. and invest on particular companies that special purpose vehicles, let's say, that invest in the real economy. For but the answer to your question is yes. Yes, we do invest in real estate as well. And the reason is, so this is not a real estate investment where you pay for the golden visa, for example, you pay €500,000, so 500,000 euros, and then you wait for the investment to the house to value or not. No, this is not the case. So invest in companies, but they will always have real estate at the back. And the reason for this is that for the investment to be more conservative. So if we invest on a nursing home, we'll invest on a company with a nursing home, with particularly on the specific one or 100% occupation already, so we can guarantee the 7 to 8% return per year all over the period. But we buy the property itself, so we buy the real estate. That's the same in small hostels, or that's the same in the energy. So yes, there is this investment on both the real estate investors behind it.
Okay, so I see we are short in time right now. Please leave us in a couple of time if you have any questions. We will send our presentations and our contacts for you once again. And any questions you have after review our webinar, please feel free to contact us again. Sorry. And I hope to contact you very soon. Have a nice week, and thank you, Raul and Anna, for participating in the webinar. Okay, thank you.